Here's the thing, everybody thinks about starting a YouTube channel, but very few people get around to actually doing it. That's really the biggest hack. If you're able to start a YouTube channel, then everything else becomes just a matter of optimization. So really my goal with this video is to get you started so that way you can be on the path to success, being able to have a platform that you're able to consistently grow, which gets you more visibility and ultimately gets you more sales, more followers, and more ability to do the music that you're passionate about. Now, the only way that these hacks are actually going to work for you is if you like this video. I'm serious, it doesn't work unless you light up that like button. Also, if you haven't subscribed already, be sure to subscribe for 12 years of good luck. Now, before we unpack these hacks, I want to take a quick moment to talk about what catalyzed my start on YouTube and can also help you do the exact same thing. That catalyst was Chu's YouTube Authority Guide. If you don't know Chu, he's a YouTuber who's grown to nearly 100,000 followers over just the past couple years, all off of type beats and tutorials. When you get his YouTube Authority Guide, you'll get access to the trademark process that he's used to become one of the most recognizable producers on YouTube. You're also getting access to a course, an exclusive podcast, and best of all, a private consultation with Chu himself. And since you're getting the guide through my channel, you can get a 60% off discount. Just go to chu.andrewtheavatar.com to sign up now and make sure to use the code AVATAR at checkout for 60% off. Now let's dive in. So when it comes to starting a YouTube channel, I think the most important thing to understand is your why. Why do you want to create this channel? Why do you feel that there's a need for you to create this channel? And what is really the reason behind it? I think for a lot of people, there's a very clear material motivation, right? Of like, I want to be successful. I want to be able to do music full time. I want to be able to get a big channel and get monetized, right? There's a lot of different things that could be an external motivation, but the why is really a lot deeper than that. The why is, why does it matter to you? Why do you care? Maybe it's your family. Maybe it is the desire to have a positive impact. Maybe it's the desire for creative freedom. Maybe it's a whole mixture of these things, right? But the more clear you are on your why, the more that you understand how important this is to you, the more that you'll be able to have the motivation to continue when things are difficult and really get to that point where you do have that breakthrough success. So when I talk about your why, I'm really referring to something internal, right? Like that internal motivation, that internal drive that keeps you going. But you also need to have an external why, which I like to call your UVP, your unique value proposition. This is basically a statement of the value that your channel provides that is why people should watch your content and why people should consume it, why people should subscribe, and what ultimately is the sort of catalyst for your channel to be able to grow into a bigger channel. For example, on this channel, I'm primarily niched down into marketing content for producers, which there's channels that maybe have a little bit of marketing content, but there's not a whole lot that are really narrowed down into this specific topic. And the ones that are all ones that I respect and like, but I did notice that there is really an undersaturation of this form of content. So it was a great niche for me to get into, a great unique value proposition. And if you can really zero in on what that specific thing is that you can do with your channel that is going to make it special, then that is where you're going to have the best potential to have incredible results. The next thing that's going to be very important for your channel is your content workflow. So basically understanding just how much content you can put out there and what really goes into that, and then getting better with time, right? So if you go back and look at the earliest videos on this channel, I was literally just filming on my iPhone. The audio wasn't great. I was basically just starting completely from scratch, but you have to start somewhere. And really the thing that helped me a lot was actually, I'll show you right here, is this YouTube planner, right? So it's like every single video, if I flip through these pages, you'll see it's just like page after page of scripts and info that I basically use to help me create lots of content, right? That's how I'm able to put out, 3 to 4 videos a week, or maybe 2 sometimes, but basically just be able to consistently put out those videos every week and be able to keep up with the filming, the scripting, the editing is by putting it on paper, right? So the content workflow is really important. Hey, so I just wanted to jump in here real quick with a little bit of director's commentary. So there's really 2 points that I'm making here. The first one is that you need to start where you are. And you saw that in that notebook I had just all sorts of notes that basically helped me get my channel started. And you have to start wherever you can start. Whatever resources you have available, put those towards starting where you're at. However, as you get further along, there's actually different ways you can optimize. So I want to show you an application I use now, which is called ClickUp, that I basically use to keep all my videos organized. So I track it through each stage of the process and I keep notes, and basically everything that was in that notebook at one time is now on this digital platform. So I'd recommend, if this is overwhelming to you, maybe don't start here. But if this is better for you than, say, writing it in a notebook, then this is a great place to start. There's also a bit of an intersection between your unique value proposition as well as your content workflow. If you aren't able to produce as much content, then you are going to benefit from really narrowing down what your channel is about. For example, one reason why I create content so aggressively, I guess, and put out so much content is because I really want to become a prominent player in the music marketing niche, especially for music producers. So like really music producer marketing. It's still pretty narrowed down. Like it's narrowed down a few layers, but I could go even deeper. Facebook ads for music producers, or Instagram for music producers. Because I create enough content, I'm able to actually create like, 4 or 5 videos on any of these given topics and start to get some weight class in those keywords. That's why often when I create videos on a topic, I'll actually create like a few different variations of them and basically put them out there, and that's all part of my content workflow, so that way I can have a wider reach on YouTube, but I'm still niched down pretty specifically into music producer marketing. And if you can understand that, it's going to take you a very long way. One of the things that's made a huge difference for me as well with my YouTube channel is my SEO strategy. This stands for search engine optimization, and it's basically how you format your titles, your description, and your tags, so that way you can show up in the search results in the right place at the right time. You want to find topics that have a large volume of people searching for them, but not a lot of people creating videos about them. Those topics with a high search volume and low competition are the ones that are going to allow you to grow your channel the fastest through an SEO-based strategy. Still, it's important to remember that SEO isn't everything. You definitely want to have a very community-oriented focus as well, and really get your core audience of viewers and be able to provide content that is meaningful to them as well. Something that's really important for every single YouTube creator is to be constantly learning new skills. You need to be learning video editing, thumbnails, marketing tactics, all the different things that are basically going to give you more leverage that enables you to grow your channel faster. Taking the time each day to learn new skills is very valuable. The sharper that you are with your skill set, the more that you'll be able to really leverage that on YouTube and grow your channel. I think a topic that's probably overestimated by many but underestimated by some as well is the power of driving traffic to YouTube. I've actually really dived pretty deep into my analytics because I go pretty hardcore on Twitter, creating threads to drive traffic to my YouTube channel and sending people to my YouTube channel from Twitter every time they follow me. So like I definitely drive a lot of traffic to YouTube, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't actually make up a huge percentage of my viewers. There are some benefits though. It definitely has helped me grow my subscriber count faster. And I'd say that it's also given me certain incentives with the platform, in the sense that like if you send traffic to YouTube, YouTube recognizes that you're somebody who's sending traffic to the platform, and you sort of get extra bonuses from the platform in terms of ranking. That's not really proven, but it's something that I've heard a lot, and I'd say just from what I've observed does seem to be true. Another thing that I think every YouTube creator should be taking advantage of is whatever tools the platform gives you to basically put your content in more places. So for example, that's things like live streaming, shorts, and the community tab. If you're creating content for all these different areas of YouTube, you'll actually have a lot more reach. Basically creating content for all these different platforms, taking the time to really live stream on YouTube versus Twitch, for example, they're going to reward that heavily. They're in competition with Twitch, so if you're banking on YouTube live streaming, they're definitely going to send you viewers. So this is a pretty obvious one, but you need to stick with it, right? If you stop creating content, like the platform's not going to suddenly blacklist you or anything. However, if you do want to keep growing, it is basically essential to keep creating content. Like if you start doing this for 2 months and then stop, you're not going to see results. Even 6 months in now for me, I'm seeing results, but it's definitely like a thing where I know that I have to keep feeding the system. I have to keep creating content. I have to keep creating videos for it to continue to grow faster. I'm starting to see those first results, but really to keep it growing, it does require that kind of constant creative cycle, and you need to have basically the motivation and the desire to stay consistent with it. If you don't have a clear why, that's why we started with the why, then it makes pretty much everything else difficult. If you're a music producer, right, you kind of have this problem-solving mindset of like, if sound isn't fitting right in the mix, you're gonna go and do everything that you possibly can to make that sound fit in the mix, right? And it's the same thing with the YouTube channel. Like you're gonna do whatever it takes to make it work if you really care about making it work and if you have a very clear why. So that's why the why is so important, because the why is really what is going to keep you consistent. One thing I'd say too with YouTube is it does take some time to find your voice, right? Like definitely right out the gate, I think I was creating still decent content, but it's improved over time. And I'd say that I've gotten more natural with the camera too. I used to really have to script out like pretty much every single thing I was gonna say, just because I was a little uncomfortable being on camera. But right now, I basically just have a bullet point that said like finding your voice, and now I'm just talking to the camera about finding your voice for a couple of minutes, and that kind of hits that aspect of the video, right? It's not always necessary to make it so like scripted and perfect, but it is good to basically find your voice and discover just how to be genuine on camera. And the only way to do that is really to just start doing it. If you want to learn, do whatever it takes to get that first content out there, and over time you'll improve the more that you repeat the process. And the final thing I'd say too when it comes to starting a music production YouTube channel is that you need to really prioritize YouTube, right? Like there's a lot of other platforms out there, but if you want to grow on YouTube, it really does take a lot of work. Like it's not like Twitter or Instagram where you just put out some posts that take a few minutes at most to make. On YouTube, you kind of have a much higher cap for, really what this can do for your growth as a musician, but it also does require consistently creating content over a long term, putting a lot of work in. And if you do that, I'd say that there's really no better platform out there to get results on. But it does require really, hitting the things that we talked about in this video and really doing it and doing it for a long enough period of time that you do see those results. And once you do that, you will see those results. I'd say that there's really pretty much nothing out there on the internet today that's as repeatable, that allows you to take kind of as much agency in your own growth online as YouTube. I'd say that really just the value that you're able to offer, the level of intimate content that you're able to offer on YouTube makes this a great platform to prioritize. Like if you go to my Twitter and my Instagram right now, or even my TikTok, it's really just an extension of my YouTube. It's just a way to take my YouTube content and put it in those places. And like I was saying before, if you want to dive deeper into YouTube, there's really no better place to start than with Choose YouTube Authority Guide. That's what I started with when I first got started on YouTube. Literally like the same week I was starting my YouTube channel, I picked this guide up, and I'd say that it was the exact catalyst that I needed to really get my YouTube channel growing right out the gate. Seriously, I wouldn't be able to do what I do now on YouTube if I hadn't picked up Choose YouTube Authority Guide when I first got started. I'm telling you guys, this is the catalyst that you need to get started. The first step is the most important step because it's the one that lets you take the next step. So to get this guide, go to chew.andrewtheavatar.com and make sure to use the code AVATAR at checkout for 60% off. Go get it. I'm watching. Did you get it? Go get it. Go to the link. It's in the description. Thank you again. I'll see you next time.